Hetepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh Keparu with another video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to be at peace. Amen. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. And if this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe bell to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Excuse me. If you would like to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter. As a Patreon supporter, you'll get access to all kinds of great videos. We also have articles online there as well. And the information will be in regards to things like how to meditate, the proper breathing exercises, how to build a magical amulet, how to do a ritual, how to deal with a legacy curse or a family curse, and so much more. And of course, there's no obligation for being a subscriber, and you can cancel at any time. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so that we can get the revolution started. Haru Nefer, Namaste. Oh, wow, it's 2026, a new year. Did you make your New Year's resolution, or have you stuck with it? What we do in the Kemetic spiritual tradition is we will do an oracle reading. Let me see how we'll do an oracle reading, and that will basically tell us what to expect in the new year, and then we proceed from that point on. And it can also predict certain things like how your relationship is going to fare, how your finances are going to fare, how your career is going to fare. And remember, if you want a reading done, you can do so by simply emailing me at the email address below in the description box, okay? So let's get into the topic for today is being at peace. Amen, the state of Amen. Now, this is not an easy one. In fact, it's one of the highest aspirations or goals for any initiate. Now, there's some problems I have with the other traditions that are out there, and let me explain what I mean. I was talking with a good friend, Rashad, and I was kind of like educating him, or his name is Qesankh Nefer Kepara, and I was trying to explain to him that, the one great thing about this system that we're practicing is that not only are you learning magic, how to perform rituals, how to contact the ancestors and all that, but it also spiritually uplifts you. It makes you a better man or woman. In fact, the whole idea is to become godlike, because as the Bible said, let's make man in our image. But you'll notice that when you get into other traditions like Christianity, or or even like what's it called, Wiccan tradition, a lot of those witches and warlocks out there, there's nothing in the practice that they're doing that spiritually uplifts you. It's just all about magic. And the problem that you have in those communities, and I, got involved to just kind of learn more about it years ago, is that you have people casting spells on each other, and you don't even, and some people don't even know that a spell has been cast on them, and it's because many of them are not at peace. They have not spiritually elevated themselves. So they go about doing lowly things, I had a so-called friend that I thought was a friend. He wanted me to work with him on a project, and I told him that I was busy and I couldn't do that. And he got so mad that he actually did a ritual to put a demon in my apartment. Now get this, I told him politely that, hey, I'm really busy, I can't work on your project, but I can recommend some people who can. And he was so upset that I turned him down that he did a ritual and put a demon in my apartment. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's crazy. And I never thought or even conceived that someone like him would do that to me. But that's what you have in those communities. The men and women are going around, and because they are controlled by their emotions, they'll just cast spells on people. I've even been threatened online in the online community where they meet and talk. One woman was like, you better be careful. You don't know what I know and what I'll do to you. And I'm like, really? Really? Again, this is why I value the spiritual tradition of the Kemetic people, the Kamau. Because embedded within the learnings and the teachings of the magical system is that you are required to grow spiritually. So you don't go around doing things like that. Now, speaking of this, I used to reside in the South Bronx. I lived there with my family for many years. And as I got older and left college and started to make a way for myself, and I believe it was right after I spent many years at the temple, or the HESP as we call it, HESP, I said as a goal that I was either going to move to LA or Las Vegas. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because I really felt, and I don't want to say that all the people in the South Bronx are like this, but many of them are. I felt that they were very, very ignorant. People who were ready to fight you at the drop of a dime. If anything, you walk in the street, you accidentally bump into somebody, they're ready to throw down. Or you could be just walking, minding your own business, and if you just happen to look up at a person, they're like, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Ready to fight you, or just nonsense. I was on the train one day going to work, and this guy was with his girl, and he started yelling at this little short guy. And he was like, why are you looking at me? And the short guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at you, I was just looking over in that direction. He goes, yo man, you are looking at me, what's the problem? And this guy with his girl, you could tell he was just picking on this shorter guy just so he can impress his girl. And this short guy was just minding his own business. He wasn't trying to cause any problems. He was not staring at the couple. But this is a level of ignorance I witnessed. I remember I was in a coffee shop once, and I was just sitting there drinking a cup of coffee, and I heard this woman screaming, using all kinds of swear words. And I was like, what's going on over here? And I turned around and looked, and the lady was standing there with her daughter, her 2-year-old daughter. And she was telling a story to the cash register, but as she was telling the story, cash register lady, she was swearing like crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, your little girl is there listening to your foul mouth. That's not a way to raise a child. But anyway, I digress. The point is, I knew I had to get away from that level of ignorance and just better my life. And no better way to do that is to move to Las Vegas, you know. So I moved to Las Vegas with the goal of joining a spiritual community and also starting one. And I felt things were a lot better here. Now, of course, there's the situation with the gambling and all that, you know, that's something that I had to be at peace with. Let me explain. As the Bible said, be in the world or not of it. Excuse me if I didn't get that 100% right. But sometimes you've got to learn to be at peace no matter what your surroundings were. Or are. And as a person of color, you have to be very aware of the fact that you've got a target on your back. The system is out to get you. So don't go around giving them a reason to go after you. I used to have a lot of incidences that would happen and just blame it on myself. You know, things that would happen. My boss would get mad at me for no reason. I get into a fight with a coworker. I'm at FedEx, and the FedEx person gets upset and is yelling at me. And let me explain a little bit about that. A lot of times, not all, but a lot of times it's due to racism. And you don't even realize it. And this is what I call as a microaggression. It's not a big fallout or a big argument, but it's a matter of disrespecting you as a person. You see, we are a very loving people. We are God's chosen people because we have melanin in our skin. That very fact has made you a target in this society. Make no mistake, they don't want to take away your civil rights or your human rights. They want to destroy you. So they concoct a system so that you don't get proper health care, don't make enough money at your job, live in a hostile community, the hood. And if you do get a job, they make sure you get fired. But because we are people who operate from that Heteru Hathor, the goddess Hathor, mindset, which is congregative thinking, we see everyone as one. And they don't see us as that, which is the problem. We're going around and we're not judging people on color or phenotype. We're looking at the content of their character. That's how we're built. But white people who had to endure the climate of a very cold and hostile environment were engineered to be segregative in their thinking process, meaning that they look to separate and look at things from a very topical or superficial way. See, that segregative thinking process combined with the reptilian brainstem makes them a people who seek conquest. and seek to separate and label and define. Meanwhile, we're operating through the congregative thought process or synthesis, which tries to see and bring things together to see how things are alike. They're looking at how things are unalike. So they have created a world predicated upon racism or white supremacy. Now, many of you probably have not watched my previous videos where I talked about pendulums or ergobores, but these are thought viruses. See, the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung was 100% right when he talked about there is a collective consciousness, and we all share in this. And through the 100 monkey principle, if a thought process reaches a certain peak, it spreads like a virus through this collective consciousness that we all share. And white people have infected this collective consciousness with white supremacy, so it has become a global virus. A very powerful ergobore or pendulum, or topa in the Buddhist tradition they call it. So it affects the thinking of even people of color, that they start to operate from a white supremacist mindset. So what I was talking about earlier in terms of you're trying to live your life, but you find that all these things are happening and you don't equate it with racism because you don't look at the world that way, and that's all right. But I'm here to tell you that more than likely that promotion that you didn't get, that job that you didn't get, the police who pulled you over without provocation was due to racism. You are a marked person, and you're not going to be able to change that in this space-time continuum. And the first thing that you're going to need to do is to recognize it. And no, you're not paranoid because you see things as racist. Because that's what it is. That's the reality. To not see that and to not have that world perspective would make you a very sick individual. You would be in denial. So the next time the bus driver disrespects you, you have to understand that it's likely because of the color of your skin. Now, as I said, not all situations are because of that, but a lot of them are. I had a YouTube content creator friend who did a video talking about how restaurants racially profile people. And he did this story about this Haitian family that came in there and ordered a whole big dinner for this man's, his wife's birthday. And the manager at the restaurant didn't believe that they were going to pay their bill. But they did. But see, that manager was looking at the color of the guy's skin, you know, black, and automatically thought, oh, he's ordering all this food. He's not going to pay for it. That's what his thought process trained under the ergobore or the pendulum. Now that I've given you the proper context to understand what you're dealing with, which is a very dangerous situation, I myself, when I was doing my spiritual readings and doing my deep meditations, came to realize that I have an ergobore that is messing with my life. And I have to do certain rituals to try and minimize the damage that this ergobore will do in my life. But I've had to come to peace with the fact that I'll never be able to get rid of this ergobore. And I'll have to take measures, as I said, with the rituals and things to ensure it doesn't wreck my entire life. Most people I see have the freedom to go about and do what they're doing. But part of my destiny in my life is I have to deal with this entity, which is a shame. And it won't go away. And I do the I-ching readings, you know. This is another I-ching book. It's a really good book. And the readings say, you're going to have to deal with this. You're going to have to live with this. How do you do that, though? Well, you have to come to terms with the fact that you are a marked person. And that you will have to live your entire life in a state of alert. Because anything could happen at any moment. Now, put aside what I just said about my life, and let's take a deeper dive into the whole idea of racism and how it's going to affect people of color. You're not going to be able to just go to a restaurant and have dinner. You're not going to be able to just go to a fast food place and order a burger. You're not going to be able to compete in a track competition without the idea of racism may be behind some of the judges' decisions and things like that. Especially if you're in a university. Oh my God. There's a lot of racism in the universities. And also with corporate America. Many of us know that and recognize that. So how do you deal with the fact that you're born with this beautiful complexion, but you're also a target? You have to learn to let go and be at peace. You see, that's one of our problems. And that's how they got us. When I was in the South Bronx, the one thing that I saw that was a common factor, it was ubiquitous throughout everything, was that we were emotional people. That we were triggered very, very easily. And that emotion got us into trouble. And it is getting us into trouble. Police stops us. We're like, why'd you stop me? What's going on? I ain't doing nothing. That's no way to act. Knowing they can pull out their gun and shoot you at any moment. And they'll do it. They will do it. We are so emotional, we're destroying ourselves. We're triggered by our own people. We're triggered by white people. We're triggered by the system. And you have a right to be upset. But you must learn to respond to this appropriately. And that's the problem. We're not responding to it appropriately. We're flying off the handles. This is why you get a bunch of young black men together and you give them a gun. You have the makings of anarchy, of destruction. Because they'll shoot each other. They'll start fights with each other. Death will follow. We have got to let go and be at peace. Because we are not mentally well people. We have been damaged. White supremacy has messed us up. First and foremost, psychologically. We're mentally ill. We have to learn how to let go. Stop getting upset when you feel that someone's disrespected you. Now, let me really spell this out for you. It's okay to recognize that it may be due to racism. It's okay to recognize the fact that you've been disrespected. But it's your response to these things and many more that caused the problem, the real problem. You are overly emotional. And you need to pull it back. You need to reach that state of amen, first and foremost. And from achieving peace and from that perspective, then you can make the decision on doing the right thing. But you'll never be able to do the right thing in this situation if you are emotional. I want you to recognize the fact that we're all emotionally triggered. We're easily triggered. This system, through social engineering, has been designed for us to be triggered, for us to get upset. We go from 1 to 10 in a half a second. That's not a way to live. That's not good. So we need to practice the art of letting go. Let it go. Oh, there's that black cat there. Well, there's actually two of them. One is Juju and the other one is Gigi. We have to take a step back and breathe. Breathe, because when you get emotionally triggered, it first affects your breathing. You hold your breath. Your breathing pattern becomes irregular. Then that leads to an explosive response. For example, your boss just out of the blue tells you you're fired. And you go, what? So you inhale and you hold your breath. And that's not good. And you start breathing from the chest. That's wrong breathing. Like I said, you've got to take a step back. And then get back into your regular patterns of breathing. We're too tied to things. Well, I wonder if that's really weird, too tied. We're tied to things. And then when we lose them, it causes an emotional outrage. This is the whole meaning of the temple of Ma'at or Ma'ati. Going in there and weighing your heart against a feather. And your heart must weigh lighter than a feather. To show you're lighthearted. You're not emotionally tied to worldly things. You're not tied to that job. You're not tied to that relationship. You're not tied to that career. The most dangerous man in the world is a man that has nothing to lose. So I want you to start thinking about that, about looking at situations that may trigger you and sitting down and meditating upon those situations and seeing yourself breathing properly, seeing yourself act in a very calm manner. Only then can you state your case or take corrective measures. But you can never do that if you're all emotional and uptight. I could walk around with a chip on my shoulder because I've got an ergobore or a pendulum that won't go away, that's going to mess up everything I do. I could start lashing out at other brothers or other sisters or even white people, but what good will that do? It only makes things worse. So try to understand that these things happen because of a system that's designed to kill you. And that you have to learn to respond appropriately so that you don't make things worse for yourself. And I know it's hard for some brothers and sisters who have been conditioned and socially engineered to respond in that manner. But you're going to have to do it if you want to get through this life. Otherwise, it's over for you. You're not going to make it. Because they're going to push you. They're going to keep pushing you until you break, until you snap. And if you don't get control of your emotions, you're going to snap. You're going to break. Look at what's happening in Chicago. Brothers are shooting each other. All kinds of nonsense. People are dying over nothing. And we're not channeling that energy in the right way. We're not saying, hey, let's address this racism thing. Let's see if we can come together to deal with this racism thing, which is the true cause of our problems, not one another. They put the drugs into communities. They put the guns into communities. It's no secret. We've known that for years. Problem is, we're not responding to it correctly. We're not channeling that energy to the right way. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. If you've liked this video, please donate to the channel. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.